Hi, this is Dan Heisman. We're going to make another video to help you improve your chess game. Haven't played the computer in a couple months. I know these are some of my least watched videos, but they're really good for two reasons. One, it's a really good insight into seeing how good players think, and you want to see them think in all kinds of situations, so it takes multiple games. And the other is that as I get older, you can see my deterioration in my play and say, gee, how does someone who's 70-something play against the computer compared to how they did when they were 50 or 60-something? So it's a study in aging also. All right, so as I always tell people, I'm going to play faster than the time limit so we can keep the video down to 30 to 40 minutes at most. We don't normally a 45 game would take a lot longer even if the other player's playing fast. All right, let's challenge Be2. Let's see what goes here. All right, I have white. Last time, I forget what I played. Did I play the English last time? I could play e4. We've had good luck with e4. All right. Excuse me. All right, let's play e4. Sicilian. All right, we could play open Sicilian. Try to outbook Be2. We could try to take her out of the book. I think last time I took her out of the book and played like b3 and I won. Shall I try to outbook her this time? I mean, she's got some pretty good book. It's much harder to beat her if you stay in the book. All right, let's try to outbook her. Knight f3. Okay, d4. Knight takes. Knight c3. Najdorf. Okay. Which line do we want to play? Should we play English attack with bishop e3? I don't know a lot about the English attack. We could play bishop g5. The old line, we could play bishop e2. I just went over a line with bishop e2. Let's do that. We'll play bishop e2. e6. Playing it like a Scavenigan. All right, well, we were just looking at the main line is to play bishop e3, but g4 is an interesting move. g4, e5, knight b3, then we castle queenside. All right, so let's play g4 just for the fun of it. Queen a5. All right, so now I can't play g5 because of knight takes e4. So let's start thinking. I could play knight b3 first. Then if queen e5, I can play f4. If he plays queen c7, I can play g5. Let's see here. Knight b3. If he plays queen b4, I can play a3. That looks pretty good. Knight b3 looks like the right idea. Bishop d2 isn't terrible, but I really don't want my bishop on d2. If I play g5 and he plays knight e4 and I play knight b3, does that work? He can play knight takes c3, hitting my queen. I don't think that works. All right, I think it makes sense just to play knight to b3. Okay, so we're going to continue with this theme. We're going to play a3. He's hitting my e-pawn twice. If he plays queen b6, I can play bishop e3 with tempo. Developing, that can't be bad. Queen, yeah. All right, a3 it is. There's queen b6. All right, bishop e3's got to be good. Then he'll play queen c7. Then I'll maybe play g5. All right, let's do that. Bishop e3. Queen c6. All right. Well, I could play knight d4 again, ironically. And then when he goes back to c7, is there a better move? He's threatening knight takes e4. If bishop f3, then d5. So what are all my safe moves? I can play f3. I can play knight d4. I can play bishop f3. I don't really like that. He can then play like knight to d7, knight e5. f3 is reasonable. Knight d4 is reasonable, but which one is better? Knight d4, queen c7, g5, knight back. Yeah. Where would I rather have my knight? b3 or d4? It's actually pretty close. Do I want his queen to stay on c6? Probably. Not clear at the moment which I want to play. Knight d4 is a candidate. f3 is a candidate. Queen d3 doesn't look good because of knight d7, knight e5. I guess on queen d3, knight d7, I could play f4. Then he could play knight c5 and trade knights. I really don't want the queen on d3, I don't think. Knight d4, queen c7. Then I can play queen d2. No, then I play g5 first. Then on knight d7, then I play queen d2. I think that's the right idea. All right, let's do that. Knight d4. Queen b6. All right, threatening the b2 pawn. All right, so if I play queen d2 and he plays queen takes b2 and I play rook b1 and he plays queen a3, is that any good? Not clear. How about if I play queen d2 and he plays queen takes b2 and I play rook to a2 and then he plays queen to b6 and then I play knight takes e6, hitting the queen and stopping the queen from going to c7 or d8. All right, so let's look at that again. Queen d2, rook, queen takes b2, rook a2. I think the only safe move, oh, can he play knight takes e4? Knight takes e4, rook takes b2, knight takes d2, something takes on d2, and I win a piece. All right, so queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, knight takes e4, rook takes b2 wins. All right, so he has to play queen to b6. I play knight takes e6. He plays queen to a5. I can play... What can I play there? I could play... knight takes f8. If I move my knight anywhere else, he could play bishop takes g4 or knight takes g4. All right, let's look at that again. Queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, queen b6, knight e6, queen a5. Do I have any tricks? Knight to d5 doesn't seem to work. Knight d5, queen takes d2, bishop takes d2, f takes e6, knight c7, check. King moves, knight takes a8. It's interesting. I win the exchange, but my knight's out of the game. Queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, queen b6, knight takes e6, queen a4, knight d5. I think he has to play queen takes d2 check. I can't play king takes d2 because of knight takes e4 check, so I have to play bishop takes d2. Then I have two pieces attacking c7, so he takes on a bishop takes e6, then knight c7 check, king moves, knight takes a8, and can I get my knight out then? Can I get my knight to b6 or something? My knight might be trapped. I don't think it is, but it might be. Maybe I could then play bishop e3. Let's see, bishop e3 and then knight b6. Probably. Interesting line. Queen d2, queen takes b2. We already said rook b1, queen takes a3. Doesn't work. I don't see that as working. Rook b3, queen a1 check. Rook b1. Yeah, I don't see that. All right, so let's look at that again. Queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, queen b6, knight e6, queen takes knight e6, queen a5, knight d5, queen takes d2, bishop takes d2. Suppose he plays knight takes d5. I don't have knight c7 check. Yeah, I can't play knight d5 in that position because he has knight takes d5. And I don't have knight c7 check. All right, so what am I getting out of that? Queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, queen b6. Do I have any other moves trapping the queen? Maybe knight to b5? Knight to b5. He can play queen to c6, guarding the d-pawn. I don't really see how that's going to help me. Can I play bishop to b5? Knight to b5? No. Knight to f5? I don't see any of those working. Knight takes e6, queen a5. I can't just move my knight back now because I lose my g-pawn. Can I play g5 first as a Zwischenzug? That's interesting. Maybe I can. All right, let's look at that. Queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, queen b6, g5. If he plays knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen b1 check, and then he takes my rook. That's unfortunate. Queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, queen b6, g5, knight takes e4. Looks like it works for him. But what if I play knight takes e6 and he plays knight takes e4? Then I play bishop takes b6, knight takes d2, knight c7 check, and then take on d2 and his rook's trapped. Yeah, that's winning. All right, so queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, queen b6. b6, knight e6, knight e4 I don't think works. I could even just play knight takes e4. No, I can't play knight takes e4 because of queen b1 check. I have to play bishop takes b6 first, but I think that wins. Bishop takes b6, knight takes d2, knight c7 check, king moves, knight takes a8 or something. Got to be good. All right, so queen d2, queen takes b2, rook a2, queen b6, knight takes c6, queen a5. That's the move I think he's going to play. Could he play queen c6? He could. Then I could bring my knight back to d4 again. Interesting. All right, so what's my candidates besides queen d2? I can play knight a4. Then he has got queen a5 check. That's annoying. I can play knight b3 again, and then he repeats the position. Or then he goes back queen to c7. So knight b3 offering a trade. Knight b3, and then he moves the queen. If he plays queen c6, I could try f3 first. Okay, let's see here. I think that's probably my best bet. Repeat the position and then just play f3. And then I have the same kind of threats. All right, I think I'm just going to do that. Let's just play knight b3 and try something different. Knight b3. Queen c6. All right, so this time I'll play f3. Since g5, knight takes e4 doesn't work, G5, knight takes E4, knight D4, knight takes C3 is no good. He's hitting my queen, take his queen, takes my queen, no good. All right, so I think I'll just play F3 and then play the same kind of lines. Let's do that. F3. All right, knight BD7 takes away his knight squares. So if I play G5, he has to play knight to G8. Well, that's pleasant. And then I can play knight D4, queen C7, queen D2. Got to be good, right? All right, so we're going to play G5. Oh, on G5 you can play knight H5, but that's a terrible square for the knight. I can play F4 and attack it with the bishop on E2. Yeah, that's no good. All right, let's play G5. That's what I thought, knight G8. Okay, is knight E5 a threat? Should I play F4 first? F4, E5, G5, F4, E5, F5 looks good. F4, knight C5 hits the pawn. I can play bishop F3 or I can play knight takes C5. Can't be bad. F4, F5, bishop F3. Can't be too bad. F takes E, bishop takes E, D5 looks dangerous for him. F4 looks good. I could just, if I play queen D2 first and he plays knight E5, I could still play something like knight D4. I think I want to do that. I think I want to play queen D2 first. All right, let's do that. Queen D2. There's that knight E5. Okay, so now if I play knight D4 and he plays knight C4, knight takes C6, knight takes D2, knight back, and is his knight trapped? I think it is. Knight D4, knight C4, knight C6, knight D2, knight back to D4. He can play E5, but then I win a pawn with king takes D2. Knight D4, knight C4, knight takes C6, knight takes D2, knight back. I could even go knight to B4, and I think his knight's trapped. It is. Well, that means he can't play knight C4. So after knight D4, he has to play queen C7. Now, does that help me? That he has to play queen C7? I still can't stop knight to C4. I could play B3. That looks awfully dangerous. Probably not terrible, but B3. So knight D4, queen C7. Castle queenside. Knight C4, bishop takes C4, queen takes C4. Got to be good for me. He has the bishop here, but I'm way ahead in development. I think that's good. If I play knight D4 and he plays queen B6, now he has none of those knight E4 tricks, so I can probably play knight takes E6, queen takes B2, rook B1 with a win. That looks awfully convincing. All right, so let's try knight D4 again. Queen B6, here we go. Knight takes E6. How can that be bad? Queen takes B2, rook B1, queen takes A3, knight C7 check. How can he allow this? So knight takes E6. If he moves the queen anywhere but B2, then I just played like knight takes F8 and I win a pawn. Knight takes E6. Knight C4, knight F3 are not possible. Queen takes E3 is not possible. Queen A5, knight takes F8 is good for me. Queen takes B2, rook B1, queen takes A3. Knight C7 check, king moves, knight takes A8. My knight could even come out to B6. That's got to be killing him. So I think knight takes e6 is winning here. All right, let's try it one more time. Knight takes e6. If he moves the queen to some random square like c6, I can just play knight takes f8. Or I can bring the knight back to d4, which is perfectly good. But if he plays queen takes b2, then rook b1. I guess he could give up the queen for the rook and the knight. He could play queen takes b1, knight takes b1, bishop takes e6. I guess that's better. But I'm killing him there. My queen's too active. He's too underdeveloped. I could then play well, I can't play f4 right away because he has knight c4. But I can stop knight c4 and then play f4. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. I can play knight d5. Yeah. This is really good. Okay. We got it. Knight takes e6. Okay, so rook b1 is forced unless I can win his queen with rook a. Can I win the queen with rook a2? Yeah, I guess I can win the queen, but either way he's going to take me. Where would I rather have the knight? That's really the question, because he's got to take my rook. I don't think I want the knight on a2, because after queen takes a2, knight takes a2, bishop e6, he's threatening the knight and knight c4. So I'd rather have the knight on b1 so he's not threatening the knight. And then I can stop knight c4 with something like maybe queen d4 and then play, or even, queen d4 and then play like knight d2 or f4. Looks awfully good. So rook b1, he has to take it. Queen takes a3, loses. Can I play knight c7 check first and then do something? I don't think so. He'll just hit my knight, and if I play rook b1, he'll take it there. I guess could I do that first? Knight c7 check, king moves, then rook b1. If queen takes a3, knight takes a8. If queen takes b1, knight takes b1. Then king takes c7. And then I can play, then the bishop's not on e6. Well, maybe that is better. Knight c7 check, king moves, rook b1, queen takes b1, knight takes b1, king takes c7, and then what should I play? King takes c7. Maybe I'm winning with queen a5 check, and I beat him on the dark squares with maybe bishop to b6. That does look promising. So maybe knight c7 check is more accurate. Knight c7 check, king moves, rook b1. If he plays queen takes a3, I have knight takes a8. If he plays queen takes b1, knight takes b1, king takes c7, I have queen a5 check, king moves, and then maybe bishop to b6. And I've got him on the dark squares. I think he's in big trouble there. All right, I think that might be the right move order. Knight c7 check is first to keep the bishop off of e6. So when you see a good move, rook b1 or rook a2, look for a better one. Knight c7 allows him to take the knight with the king instead, and that's preferable. Let's just double check. Knight c7, king moves, rook b1. What else could he play? Knight d3 check, no. Knight c4, no. I don't see it. All right, let's do it. Knight c7 check. Okay, and here we go. Rook b1. Let's double check. Rook b1. If he plays queen takes a3, knight takes a8. What else could he do? Knight c4 is no good. He'll play queen takes b1. All right, rook b1. All right, I have to take it. Knight b1 is forced. All right, and now the idea was to play queen a5 check. If he plays king to d7, I probably have knight c5, knight d5. I also have f4 in some lines. And king d7 blocks the bishop, which helps me. If he plays king b8, I play bishop c7, then he moves his bishop, then bishop checks. That looks awfully, awfully bad for him. Okay, let's do that. Queen a5 check. Okay, so now the idea is I want to get my queen to c7. Should I play knight c3, knight d5? If I play knight c3, he plays knight c6. So if I want to stop knight c6, I can play bishop b6. And then if he plays knight c6, I have bishop c7 check, king a7, queen b6 mate, which means he has to move the bishop. But then if he moves the bishop, I have bishop c7 check. Yeah, well, maybe that's not as good. Let's think about this. If I play f4, he'll play knight c6. I could play queen d8. If I play queen d8, no, I could play queen d8 right away. If I play queen d8, he has bishop e7. Okay, so bishop b6, bishop e6, bishop c7 check, king c8, knight c3, knight c6 hits my queen. I'd almost rather have him play knight c6 right away, and then I could just play queen to b6, keeping his king locked in, and then so I think knight c3 right away, threatening knight d5, and then doing all that stuff might be the more accurate way to play. Yeah, I kind of like that, because bishop b6, knight c6, sorry, bishop b6, bishop e6, bishop c7 check, king c8. Can I just move my bishop and threaten mate? Bishop d8. Can he play king d7? Queen c7 check, king e8. Do I have a mate? I don't see a mate. Let's look at that again. Bishop b6, knight, bishop e6, bishop c7 check, king c8, bishop d8, king to... Oh, I can't play bishop d8. He plays knight takes a5. Never mind. Let's just play knight c3. Can't be bad. Got to be good. Knight c3. Now knight d5 is practically mate. All right, so he's going to stop it. But now, does my bishop checks work here? Bishop b6, knight c6, neither knight. He can't play knight c6. Knight c6, bishop, if I play bishop b6 and he plays knight c6, bishop, so he has to move the bishop. So then I play bishop checks, and he moves the king, and then I can play bishop takes d6, threatening mate and the knight, and he can't play knight c6 because of queen c7 mate. All right, let's check that again. Bishop b6 threatens mate. He moves the bishop, let's say bishop e6. Then bishop c7 check. King has to go to c8 because a7 is mate on queen b6. So bishop, king c8, and then bishop takes d6, threatening mate on c7. If he moves the king, I play bishop takes e5. But he doesn't have any knight move with the knight on e5 to stop the mate on c7. So that's looking awfully, awfully good. I can't see how that's bad. Bishop b6, if he puts a knight on c6, bishop c7 check, king a7, queen b6 is mate. Okay, let's do it. Bishop b6. Okay, he just gets the bishop out of the way. So now my plan was to play bishop c7 check, king c8, bishop takes d6, threatening mate on c7, and also threatening the knight. I don't see how he can stop that. He can stop the mate, but then I just take the knight. And I still have a mating attack, and I'm winning a piece, which is plenty enough. Does he have knight f3 check? No. Does he have bishop g2? No. Not worried about any of those guys. Okay. Let's go bishop c7. Alright, so my plan is to play bishop d6 with the double threat of queen c7 mate and taking the knight on e5. He can play knight f3 check if he wants. That's fine with me. Then he can play knight c6 hitting the queen. That still doesn't stop the mate. Alright, let's do it. Bishop takes d6. There's the check I expected. Alright, let's just take the knight and get out of check. Bishop takes. And now he moves the king. Okay, well, this is getting pretty pleasant. If I check with the queen and he goes king e8, I'm in pretty good shape. All right, let's look for good moves here. Queen c7 is certainly the first one I would look at. Can I just move my bishop? Does that help me? Don't think that really helps me. Queen c7, king e8 is what's going to happen. Am I in any hurry to play that? I could then play queen takes b7. He would attack my bishop or something with rook d8. I could play e5, threatening bishop c6. That looks pretty good. I could then play king f2 and bring my rook over. If he plays rook c8, threatening my knight, I can play like knight to d5 maybe. Or I could just play king to d2. Alright, well, let's start with queen c7 check. And he does go to e8. Okay. Alright, I really don't want to take that knight even though it's guarding c8. I could play king to f2 and then rook d1. I could play queen takes b7, rook to c8, bishop takes e7, rook takes c3. Everything's winning. It's just a question of how I want to do it. Queen b7, rook c8, king d2, rook d8, e5. Holds the bishop. Threatens bishop c6 in a lot of lines. Threatens to bring the rook over. Can't be bad. Do I have a better move? Knight d5, probably easily winning. King f2, undoubtedly easy winning. King to f2, king to d2, king d2. The threat, I guess, is rook c8, skewering the queen and the rook and the knight. Can always move the knight. If I move the knight and he takes the pawn on c2, he's threatening rook c1 check in some lines. If I'd have to play bishop d1 not to lose the rook. I'm not too worried about that. All right, let's play queen takes b7 just to weaken the white squares around the king. There's that rook c8. My temptation here is to play king to d2. And if he plays rook d8, I have e5. And then if he plays knight to c8, I have like bishop c6 check. If he plays knight to g6, I have bishop c6 check. All right, let's play king to d2. King to d2, guarding the knight. There's the pin. All right, so e5 was my plan. I don't want to make the ABC error where you don't move right away unless it's forced. So e5 was my planned move. If he plays rook takes bishop, that doesn't work. If he moves his knight, knight c6 check was a winner. Knight c6 check is almost a threat anyway. Let's say e5, knight f5. That blocks the bishop from coming back to d7. That allows bishop c7. Where else could he move the knight? He can move it to g6. Bishop checks, bishop in the way. Then I can get my rook in the attack. He can't take the He could take the pawn on e5, I guess. I guess that's a move. I can't see that e6, e5 is a really bad move. And if he moves the knight, in a lot of lines, I can move my king, like back to c1, and then knight takes, bishop takes, or knight takes, pawn takes, rook e1, check, gets the rook in the attack too. All right, so let's move the pawn up. If he plays rook up, then I can always take on a6 or check him or something. All right, let's play e5. Bishop hits the queen. Okay. Do I want to guard the e5 pawn against knight g6, or do I want to guard the bishop so that he's not threatening it? Queen b6 looks good. Yeah, queen b6 looks good. We'll just do that. Queen b6. Bishop back again. Okay, time to get the rook into the attack. Do I want the rook to be on e1 or d1? I think I want it to be on e1, because if he moves the knight, he can threaten the bishop and I can take back with check. And then I can play king c1 and then like knight to e4 or something. Yeah, it can't be bad to get the rook into the play here. If he plays knight c8, I have check on c6. All right, rook e1. Bishop there, not really do anything. I can play knight d5. I really don't want the bishop pinned, so let's move the king back to c1 and get the bishop into the game. King to c1. He's all tied up here. h6. Okay. Can I play knight d5? Threatening knight c7. I could also play queen takes a6. I kind of like knight d5. It's almost made if he doesn't take. If he takes and I take back, if he takes, I take discovered check, and that's pretty dangerous. But otherwise, bishop checks can trade everything off. Wins easily. All right, let's do that. Knight d5. All right, we got to take it back. We'll take it back. Bishop e7. Okay, so bishop checks, king f8, bishop takes e7 check, followed by queen c5 check is winning. Bishop takes e7, rook takes d5 first, so yeah, bishop checks first. Okay, and now bishop takes e7. Should be good. What else could I play? All right, let's go bishop takes. Let's play queen c5 check. And now e6, if pawn takes, rook takes, check. If bishop can't take, if bishop takes c6, queen takes c6. All right, let's just do that e6. Bishop takes, queen takes, check. All right, now queen to c7 check should finish him off. He can't play king takes e6. If he moves the king back, queen takes f7 is mate. If he puts the rook in the way, I take it and then mate. Okay, queen c7. Queen takes check. And let's not take on f7 mate. Let's do queen to d8 mate. Okay. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed that game. Please tell your friends about the channel, and hopefully you learned something from watching these games where I think out loud. Thanks a lot. Bye.